And welcome to episode 161 of Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast, where tonight we have something special for all the ladies out there. Oh, yeah. But before we get any further, I'm Jack with my fellow host of...
Ryan.
Duncan.
Jamie.
And John.
And our very special visitor of... Josh.
Josh Muncie Beans.
Josh, welcome aboard, sir. Are you ready for the most weirdest night of your life?
It can't be any weirder than any of the Wednesday night paint and chats.
Okay. You got me on that one, sir. You got me on that one. But before we get any further, let's do a quick station identification.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
Let's do a quick station identification. And thank you to our patrons. Without you, we would not be doing this show right now. Feel free to join our Patreon at any point. No pressure, no pressure. And now that we have the bills paid, let's go into hobby. John, do you want to start us or do you want to end us?
No, I go ahead. I don't have a lot this time. Unlike what most of you people think, I'm some kind of hobby machine or something.
You are.
Have you been to the hospital or something? Are you okay?
Blood loss.
No. These stupid little myrmidons have been more annoying than I thought, and I miss painting Marines because they were so few colors, but these things are so many colors. But they're basically done. I painted all the colors, dry brushed all the metals, applied counter metals, and then did some touch-ups, and then got their bases built today. And so I will have them completely finished in time for our arbitrary cutoff for the first 500 points coming, what'd you say, the 3rd?
Yes, the 3rd. March 3rd is where our first cutoff is for the 2026 Army.
Yeah, so I'll have them all done for that.
Cool.
And be so happy to not paint. If I paint anything else Mechanicum, I'm definitely doing it in more sub-assemblies than these things were. I think I broke off at least 10 parts trying to build these stupid things. And then I glued more shit onto them after they were done, so... It was kind of annoying. What about you, Jamie?
So, I've been press ganged, I guess you would call it again, for the podcast. I've been printing a lot. And I've been trying to finish off. I keep going back to the Spartan because I'm not going to say I'm not happy with it, but I keep finding stuff that I want to do to it. So I've been kind of nitpicking and doing other kind of weathering effects and touch-ups and stuff like that on it before I call it a day on it. So I've been working on that, and I've done a little bit of work on the Praetor, but not enough, like, to say, oh yeah, I'm, like, fully on the Saturnine Praetor. But those are the last 2 models I've got for Adepticon. I've been, like, super busy. I've had a kids' soccer tournament this weekend, so I really haven't had, like, an immense amount of, like, free time just to sit and paint. So, but I'm still doing stuff. It's just a little slower than normal. How about... Duncan.
Let me see here. What have I done this week? Well, I got the 3 rhinos that I have for the Night Lord's Army are done. Decals are down. Final weathering's down. Seals are down. They're done. Everything's done for the Night Lord Army. It's complete. So after I finished that, I think that was Friday night, I finished that off. I've done nothing else. I don't have any hobby goals right now. I have nothing that I absolutely have to work on. I have nothing project-wise that I need to get done.
May I interject something?
Hold on. I definitely don't have some candy apple red Marines right sitting in front of me from a couple attempts at the coloration scheme-wise.
You trying? Yeah,
exactly.
you trying a bunch of them out to see what you like.
Well, I'm sitting here. I'm obviously working on doing 1,000 Suns for my daughter's army, and I'm trying to figure out what silver is going to go best and what gold is going to go best for the undercoat.
See, I don't do silver.
I was gonna say, don't a lot of people use white?
No, I do for the undercoat. I do a dark like bronze or copper, something like that, and then a lighter, like a gold on top, and then I do the candy apple.
Okay, so what I'm doing, split the model right down the middle. I'm using half of it will be a bright silver, and half of it will be a darker color. I've been using gold for the darker color. I've got like 7 different golds, and I've got like half a dozen or more different silvers, and I'm just trying to figure out which ones I want to do. And right now, the ones that I think have actually worked out best are a much darker gold than I thought. It's called Death Metal by Fanatic War Paints. Yeah. So that's the gold that I think I'm going to be using because it's a very, very dark gold.
Jack and me think alike, man. You never would have thought.
Yeah, nope, wouldn't have thought that. And the other one I've been using that I've kind of narrowed it down to is Army Painter War Paint again, Shining Silver Air from Metallics. Because while it's a bright silver, it's not like shiny bright.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm currently thinking is going to be the gold and silver underlayer. So it'll be black, and then these will be the zenithal over it, and then followed by the candy apple red. And I actually tried 3 different types of candy apple red because, much as we have discussed in the past, we all know that Tamiya Clear Red is the one that works best. And you know what? Cool. But other people have come and asked us which ones we would suggest.
And I told them all to die like men.
You did. And so I did 3 different types. I tried using War Paint True Blood, which is actually a color recommended by Mentor's Miniatures for it. And then I did Blood Red from Speed Paint from Army Painter. And then I tried Clear Red from Pro Acryl and Monument Hobbies. Now, Jack, which of these 4 different reds, or these 3 alternative reds, do you think worked best?
Tamiya Clear Red.
Well, technically that's the 4th. Going up against Tamiya, which one do you think of these 3?
You didn't go with the Winsor & Newton clear inks?
No.
Okay, that would have been another one over the Tamiya.
Mr. Hobby Clear Red.
Well, I actually think that the War Paint True Blood effect worked wonderfully for it and was perfectly thin and was almost the right shade. But when I compared that side by side with Tamiya Clear Red, there was a very clear winner.
Yeah.
Tamiya Clear Red.
I did, for the nights I did copper, then a gold. I did Tamiya copper, and then I think it was a Monument Hobbies gold, just something that was lighter in the color spectrum, and then a lighter gold on top of that, and then I did the Tamiya clear.
Did you look at for the silver color? I've been getting good results out of the magnesium and then the silver over the top, or vice versa, if you wanted.
Oh, these were just test models to figure out what would work best. I did all of these colors were literally just over top of black.
Gotcha.
So, yes, odds are good. I will probably end up doing the black undercoat, a zenithal of white, and then putting something underneath the actual silver, and then using the silver over top of that. And I'll probably put something underneath the actual gold when I do the gold for the death metal as well.
So
just to get
hold on.
more depth of transition.
For the people that didn't see, that are on YouTube, that are not on YouTube, what we're actually talking about, obviously, is we're talking about the candy effect paint colors for Thousand Suns.
Yeah,
Another example would be also for the Alpha Legion.
See,
They're very hard colors to do right, and they're also sometimes can be very hard colors to replicate.
Yep.
yeah.
So
What Duncan's doing right now, I think of more of a word bearers because it's a colder red than the warmer red of Thousand Suns.
So I will agree. This is definitely coming out as a bit of a colder red than I was actually imagining. I was thinking that the Tamiya over top of the silvers would come out with a more of like a festive red, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
It's still candy apple red. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a little bit cold. Yeah, like Jack said, it is colder, but it's.
But what does your daughter think? What does your daughter like the best?
She hasn't made an opinion known yet because I haven't showed them to her. Because I'm not going to show her these until they actually are all actually ready.
Can I paint? Can I paint
all of them and say which one do you like?
Can I paint a model for her and just throw it in there, just into the mix?
You absolutely can, Jack. And if she likes your model best, you get to paint the army.
Sure, I'll paint it on my timeline. How does 2036 sound?
That sounds like
I'll be dead by then.
I would expect that of you.
So all I'm gonna say is like, because I know Duncan's painted a decent amount of armies other than like his primary, and John paints a pretty decent amount of armies. He is still true blue, but he has painted different armies and stuff, and like I've had a lot of experience painting just like the whole gamut because of all the Toys for Tots armies.
Yep.
Like what I do and like I recommend is like to get like maybe like a little notebook and write down like your paint formula so you can come back to them, or like if you're trying different things to write them down and like make notes about how they look or what effects you're trying to get with them.
So what I actually do is I don't have a notebook for that. I just use a running Google Doc where I store my various color schemes.
I use another method. I leave the paints in the background of every picture I take for Instagram.
Okay.
So that way, if I need to come back to the army, I just look at the pictures of the painted army or whatever step I was on, and those paints are in the back of the picture.
That actually works too. And for this day and age, when people are sharing work in progress stuff, that's probably a wonderful way to do it.
Sorry, we kind of derailed the.
No, there's no reason to apologize. I mean, this is hobby stuff, is what we all do, right? But yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Back here that just wings it every time.
Well, Brian, since I'm done, what have you winged it on lately?
Since we are a BattleTech podcast,
oh Lord, here we go.
I have mostly wrapped up painting my 30K stuff for Dethroned. I don't actually have any Snyder Recon Atlases in my entire collection.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, just doing those last touches on the Death Guard for Adepticon, and I've done a little bit of work on some BattleTech stuff, not gonna lie. But it's been pretty chill. My Tech Marine Forge Lord is still hide and seek champion of the world. He's nowhere to be seen, so we're just gonna have to proxy him. But that's all I got. What about you, Jamie?
Already went.
Jack's left.
Jack.
Fine, Jack.
I worked on some base coats for a plow, and Saul, Mississippi.
Josh,
do you have any hobby?
Worked on recently?
I sure do. I just finished slogging my way through 20 shrimps from Mechanicum, Echidnax Servo Automata, which I promised myself I would never batch paint in batches of 20 again, and I broke that promise, and I was immediately reminded why. but they're done now. So I have 10 models left for Adepticon. That is an Archmagos, 8 Tech Priests, and a Warlord Titan.
Hold on, wait. You haven't started your Titan yet?
Oh no, it's much in progress, but it's very slow.
Oh yeah.
Is this a 32 mil Titan?
Yeah, it's this. I got this Titan right around New Year's, and she's.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
She came to me leaking uncured 2-part epoxy. She's had 2 previous owners. She's a little skittish, but she'll open up to you with the right amount of love and treats.
Yeah.
So she is. I think I can get her done in the next 3 weeks.
Well,
If anybody has
For the big ass game.
Yeah, all power to you. I know. I remember. I remember the pictures and everything of it, and I was like, wow.
She looks very different now. I'll throw some up for everyone listening to this. I'll throw some up in the Discord. But she was a total teardown and rebuild from the ground up.
All right then. John, what's the news got for us?
Get comfortable, gentlemen.
Oh Lord.
Remember, we have mech to go over tonight.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to try to go fast. So first up, we had all the stuff come out for pre-order that we talked about last time. Of interesting note is the fact that the Myrmidons are already sold out.
I'm not surprised in the least.
Yeah.
Mechanicum has been waiting for these since I've been a Mechanicum player.
Yeah, and for what were they, 100 plus for 3 of them before? Now it's 77 for 6.
Yeah.
And
Something
there were
like
no
that.
Darkfire options.
Yep.
They've never had a model for the Darkfire.
Yeah, I had to get 3D printed Darkfires for my conversions.
What?
You didn't print them.
I know.
The battle programs are 90 for 18. Ultrax is 82.
Which that's not too bad too. That thing was pretty expensive from Forge World as well.
Yeah, I think it was nearly 200. And then
Yeah.
the Battle Pilgrim Marshal is
Huge
40.
It is absolutely worth every penny of MSRP. That thing is a balloon.
Yeah, and it's absolutely devastating in games, as I found out when my opponent used 4 of the fuckers. For next week, we've got some interesting stuff coming. We've got the Red Corsairs coming out next week. So the Reaver Captain, the Corsairs themselves, the upgrade pack, some dice, and a combat patrol are all being released next week. I know it's not us, but the
Weathertop.
Yeah, Weathertop is coming back into production for Lord of the Rings. Weathertop was like 1,000 plus on eBay because it wasn't printed that much and is pretty rare.
Yeah. I've known a couple people that's built it, and it's not a fun build.
No. During the week, we also had some sneak releases. In my opinion, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It's the new Knight Destrier. It does not look like a knight at all. It looks like a warjack on cocaine. Apparently, it has jet engines in its butt, so it runs fast.
It is red.
It is red.
It's definitely red.
It's my house colors, and I still hate it. It comes with 2 gun options, some type of short bombard, and a minigun. And apparently, it comes with 2 close combat options: a rocket-powered lance and a chainsword. This is all we know.
That lance looks like something I've seen before. I'm trying to remember what. It doesn't look like the one on the
Lancer. No, it doesn't.
But it's like something from. What is that from?
Well, this is a 40K knight, not a Heresy knight. First of all.
Correct. Most of the things that people are saying is probably not going to be ported over to Heresy, much like the other knights. They also dropped Panoply of the Dark Mechanicum Part 1. So we've got a bunch of little painting articles down here. Just some quick, these are the colors we recommend you use to make these armor colors for all of our different Mechanicum.
Which is pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, not a terrible article.
There are some really, really cool transfers in these articles.
Yeah.
That you probably can't get, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they've made them yet, but
yeah,
if they do,
It's making me wonder if they're going to, because the way these are so nicely done, it wouldn't surprise me if we get a Dark Mechanicum release of some kind, especially because this image is way too high quality for a 8mm model.
Well, we've talked about this a lot already in the past. Like the little 8mm. No, it's one of the new Dark
Mechanicum Scorpion mods.
Yeah.
Scorpion things.
Yeah.
And those things are like, if you scale them up, they're huge. I mean, they are not a small model in 28mm.
Yeah, the small ones are almost Porphyrin height, and then the other ones are a little over Warhound height.
That looks like the Tyranid like super
Yep.
thing
Yeah.
from years ago.
The Hierophant.
Fire Titan.
Yeah.
Hierophant.
Yep. They also dropped.
This is my post-Adepticon project, is printing one of those at full scale.
Nice.
Nice.
They dropped a World Eaters article this week, so
My
you can
boy.
read some of the Black Book fluff. Next up was the Warhammer Relics Day. So this is a bunch of officially licensed GW stuff. Weta is coming out with a Squig Hopper, probably a vampire of some kind. Joy Toy made yet another helmet,
Unfortunately, it's a Mark 10.
a Mark 10 with a big golden skull on the front. Comes with a free shirt if you buy it from GW. DK is making an Age of Sigmar book and a Words of Wa book. Tommy is making a plush Power Fist that you can fist your friends with. And a plushy little Mechanicum Adept. Ultra Pro is making gaming mats. Before you get your hopes up, this is only for Kill Team and Warcry, so it's just for the smaller games. Maybe we'll get them in other games, we'll hope. McFarlane, we saw these a while ago, but it's nice to get an official announcement that we're getting Dawn of War 4 Marines, as well as some Space Wolves and Dark Angels. More role-playing stuff, a Dark Tide card game, more U2's figures. Hey, look, Heresy stuff.
Water bottle.
Officially licensed water bottles. And banners for the Ultramarines, Iron Warriors, Imperial Fists, Salamanders, and Sons of Horus.
How big are these banners?
Not very big.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a minute, because these officially announced already. Displate took all the cool little propaganda photos that were in the Necromunda decal sheet and turned them into big posters that you can buy to put on your wall. And there's going to be more cosplay outfits coming out. And again, there's a big contest. If you subscribe to Warhammer Plus, you can win a bunch of stuff. Space Marine 2, the Tech Marine dropped. So if you're hoping to play this thing, you're probably not going to find a group to play it because everyone else is already doing it. Good luck.
He's also an absolute brute.
Monster. Yeah. Raven Guard cosmetic pack. Space Shark cosmetic pack.
Voices. What was... I didn't get... I was like, what?
Yeah, there's actually some other cool stuff that have kind of dropped in there as well. A nice Mark V helm. Apparently there's a new operations mission as well.
Yeah, I played it the other night. It was okay.
They dropped another Warhammer art through the years, this time focusing on the Inquisition. One of the Adrian Smith artworks from 3rd edition that really got me hyped up.
The old pimp walk picture.
Yeah, pimp
Yep.
walk.
Bunch of Blanche art doing what he does best, concepts.
Man, there's been a lot. And the Eisenhorn.
Yep, and the good old Eisenhorn from the... That was the when he went trader.
Yep.
So the water bottles, again, are officially out. They are $36 US a water bottle. I would rather get the extra $4 and buy one from our friend in Texas.
Yep.
See if it's got 22 ounces.
Yeah, I think the one I've got was, what, 36 or 40? That
Yep.
sound right?
Yeah,
You know,
these... Good.
I mean, obviously, I would happily rather get one from our friend down in Texas. But how big is this?
So this
22
is
ounces,
16.
so it's not huge.
This is 16 ounces right here in front of my head. So about that much more.
That's a 40-ounce tumbler.
Yeah.
So, I know this is going to sound a little crazy. Did you all know that we actually have water bottles ourselves
I do.
on
'Cause
the
I'm
merch store?
literally just looking at them.
Yep. And ours are less than theirs.
Yep. And they come with more than just a white sticker. I'm sorry,
Yep.
white imprint.
And ours are actually bigger. So,
Yep.
Yay.
So those banners right now are available either separately or part of a bundle for $107.
I'm sorry. What did you say to me?
For $107,
No,
you get the
I'm sorry.
banner,
I'm sorry. What did you say to me?
a shirt. It does go all the way up to 5X this time, and one of the water bottles. So the banner's official size is 107 by 54 centimeters. We convert
What is
that into
what is it converting to?
I
North?
said centimeters. I thought you said inches. I was like, wow, that's pretty decent size. If it's, yeah,
42 inches across. So not huge. You can put it on the back of a door, kind of. It's like a flag, basically.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's all our official GW stuff. We've got some unofficial to be used with Heresy stuff. Puppets War announced a new Dreadnought drop pod.
Ah,
It's not terrible.
yeah.
I like that. That looks like it would actually fit.
It looks like it's four-sided too. Does it?
Yep.
Is that
Yeah, four-sided.
four-sided?
Is this a file or a model you're actually buying?
Sadly, it's a model, but if with the way Puppets War works, probably about 6 months it'll be a file. There's a
Okay.
couple Kickstarters that I saw going on. The first one is called the Mammoth Super Heavy Industrial Vehicle.
That's a big
So-
crane.
That is a big crane. So basically, it's a big crane on wheels, or it's modular, so you can take that crane apart, build it into a little dump trucky thing. Also comes with some goofy little loader bots. And considering the whole thing is only $17, not terrible.
Not bad.
And with those same files, you can also build a barge or a giant snowplow. A bunch of neat stuff you can do with this. It's made to be printed in filament, obviously. Resin would be immense and heavy.
It's a kind of a reinforced
I can imagine.
concrete bulldozer.
Yep. Make your Killdozer dreams real.
Yep.
Next one that's probably FDM perfect is the Outbound Station Medwing. So this is yet again another great modular Zone Mortalis-esque, but this time it's more kind of Aliens future tech.
Towel.
Yeah, it's got a bit of 50s retro in some of it too, with the tiling on the floor and some of the seating and things like
You know what
that.
it reminds me of? Yeah, you're right. 50s tech. I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of the Fantastic Four movie from the just came out.
Yeah. I like the fact that all the med bays open, that you can put the little morgues in. Again, $48 gets you all in. Or if you want to print it for sale, it's only $100.
Yeah.
So not terrible. Weird Miniatures announced that they're teaming up with Ammo, and they're going to be making their own line of Malifaux Smart Colors.
Everybody's
No.
jumping in on the colors right now.
Everybody's doing their own stuff. Yeah.
Yep. They're refined to be non-metal metallics. So if you're looking to do without blending, without mixing and stuff like that. So whether you're painting living flesh, undead horses, goblin mischief, or non-metal metallics. So be interesting to see those pre-mixed. I know a lot of people don't like mixing paint like myself. I just like pull bottle, make thing go pretty. And there's a new game coming out called Immortal Kings. I thought these would be good demons. They just look weird, some of them. So you've got these little werewolfy guys. You've got these that I thought would be perfect demon brutes.
Those do look. Yeah. What the hell?
It's serving Doom the Dark Ages, honestly.
Yeah.
It also kind of looks like the Kingdom Death King Dragon a little bit.
I was gonna say the one with the horns looks like the what's his name from the Dawn of Justice?
Oh yeah,
Dark Side.
Not Darkseid, Caliban. Or what? Yeah, is it Caliban? Like his herald that
and then
comes.
their human faction is more robot based. It's an interesting sci-fi game. These are all starter sets that are starting to come out, so it'd be interesting to see if these get available separately later. Again, to steal for demons or whatever you want to do. And then up Duncan's wing, Game Found. Again, this is another Kickstarter-like platform specifically for miniature games and board games. Is doing the Exo Squad Rock Knots.
That's not my Exo Squad.
That's not my
this
Exo
is not
Squad.
my Exo Squad. I miss
either.
I'm sorry.
where's my racism allegories and how war is bad.
Yeah.
And we used thermonuclear weapons to mine for gold.
And genetically
All right, so-
create never mind. Yeah.
These guys have actually done another one before with other squat stand-ins.
Yep.
And my complaint then is the exact same thing as my complaint now.
Too cartoony.
No, it's these guys don't understand how legs work.
So yeah, they've been.
It's a torso, and then feet.
Yep. I like that they're
I mean-
multi-piece, technically, considering the legs and torso and head are all one piece. So you've got the arms as separate pieces, which is nice. Yeah, this was their other one they've done before. So they've done these trike things in the past, as well as some infantry.
Yeah, and they actually have a couple pictures of them, and their infantry is a head, a torso, arms, and then feet. There's no legs at all, just feet, and it looks absolutely ridiculous.
We're
I do
almost
like
done
that
with
they're bringing up the '80s squat look though, so kudos to them for that. But how about some legs, guys?
just a couple more pieces of news, gentlemen. Almost done. So we got an announcement on March the 4th. We're going to learn a lot more about the Gundam Assemble game. That being said, last weekend was their reveal day at Bandai Weekend. And so someone leaked all of the rules. I will tell you in advance, I think this game is dead. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this sounds a lot like the GW game Underworlds. You are only allowed to fight box versus box, which is a max of 3 to 5 models. Everything is hex-based. Line of sight is kind of controlled by hexes, but it's also kind of controlled by up and down. The whole game is designed to be finished in 10 turns, and it is designed specifically for tournament play. There are power-ups scattered around the field that you can run into and gain upgrades for your model.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds very odd. Next up, Monument Hobbies has announced a couple things. First up, that they're going to be doing their own version of speed paints called One Step. They released a cool little preview video for it that shows off some of the colors in the background if you can pause it at just the right times. Yeah, before release at Adepticon. And then the final thing,
There was another one after that too, but
okay. Monument dropped their set 2 of semi-opaque flat matte paints in squeezy bottles.
the
What is
last
the last?
last one is Monument is making sable brushes in the United States, so you will actually be able to get them because they're on because of what a sable is. It's on a non-import list. That's why they're very hard to get at this point. So they're making sable brushes here in the United States, so you'll be able to get them again, and they'll have a full line of them at Adepticon.
Cool. That, gentlemen, is all the news.
It's over. Right. Meat and taters, as always. Mechanicum.
Beep boop.
Big robots that go something.
Pew,
I don't
pew.
understand them.
They go.
I've
pew,
tried
pew.
reading them. I don't get them. It made my brain go no. So
We brought in a specialist.
we did. I'm not the only one whose brain went nope. I don't understand it. Jack, do you understand Mechanicum?
What?
Yep. Jack doesn't understand either. So we bring in Jacob. Jacob,
Josh?
introduce yourself.
Josh?
To us. Yes, Josh, not Jacob. My bad. Sorry.
Okay, there's
Josh.
a lot of J names on this cast right now.
There really are. Josh, please introduce yourself to us and to our listeners, and then
Hey, everyone.
talk to us about Mechanicum.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Muncie Peens. I am a Heresy player. I live in Metro Detroit, Michigan. I've
Oh, nearby.
played Heresy since 2015 when Betrayal at Calth dropped, and it suddenly became affordable. I just graduated from college at the time, and I would use my first big boy paycheck to pick up a box of Betrayal at Calth, and I've been hooked ever since. I got into Mechanicum right after second edition Heresy dropped. It started out as an allied detachment for my salamanders, and after a couple games, I realized I enjoyed playing the Mechanicum half of my army a lot more than the Marine half, and so I jumped ship to Mechanicum, and I've been a solid Mechanicum player ever since. I love this army to death. I think it is exactly where I want to be hobby-wise. It's an absolute blast to make all of the fun conversions I've done. And rules-wise, I think it's really enjoyable, especially with all the changes that 3rd edition has brought to the faction. It is a little complex. I will give everyone that. There is no shade at people who do not understand Mechanicum. That's what I'm here to help with. As a little plug, I am almost done writing a beginner's guide to playing Mechanicum for the Novice Tech Priest. It should be wrapped up and edited this week, and I'll post that out, I'm assuming, with this episode.
Okay.
So, everyone open your textbooks, and let's begin school for the Novice Tech Priests.
Books?
I need my graph paper and slide rule.
Do I need a calculator? My TI-82 is heretical, apparently.
You need a new recruit.
Okay, that's fair.
So I've got the Liber over here, and I'll be trying to not read off unit profiles as much as I can, because everyone has new recruit. Everyone can go look at what the stats of stuff are. I'm going to start off with a quick breakdown of Mechanicum stuff that's unique to Mechanicum. Because there's a lot going on to understand even before we get into what are units, what do they do, and how to build a list. First off is every Mechanicum model has a Techno Arcana. This is kind of like a faction. We'll get into what they actually do later, but some models have a fixed Arcana, like all robots, for example, are Cybernetica. Some have a keyword that you can change in list building to play around with some of the different options that the army has. We'll get more into what the Techno Arcana do later, but it's important to know that everything has one. Mechanicum, at its core, is a synergy and buff army. I know the GW rules writers have compared it to like fantasy undead with necromancers, kind of, controlling their mindless hordes of zombies and big flesh monstrosities and stuff. It's not untrue. But in Heresy specifically, a Mechanicum army is much more than the sum of its parts. You'll look at some of the stat lines on our units, and you'll see, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, initiative 3, 2 attacks. Okay, yeah, not very impressive stat lines, but there's a unique mechanic called Cyberthurgy that can cast buffs on almost all of our units and really improve them to the point where they are punching well above their weight class. In addition to just straight having buffs, all Mechanicum armies have nearly a universal access to Battlesmith. It is trivial to repair a damaged robot in the middle of battle, and if you don't kill a Mechanicum robot, you might as well have not touched it. Like a Thanatar, if you do 7 of those 8 wounds, it might as well just be back to full by the next turn. Next up, scoring. You might have heard that this is important this edition. Mechanicum has no line units. Instead,
Hey?
yeah, Mechanicum has no line inherent in the faction. In addition, Automata cannot score, per the unit type in the big rulebook.
Yeah.
So we can fix that. That being said, Mechanicum uses a special skill on our HQs called Comptroller to score bonus points from objectives in much the same way that line works. When I refer to HQ models, I'm talking about the Archmagos, regular Magi, and Tech Priests. So Mechanicum HQs are really, really central to the faction, not only because they're the ones that cast the Cyberthurgy buffs, they're also the ones that can enable scoring on robots, and they give you the bonus points from Comptroller to be your line equivalent. Next up, everything in the Mechanicum is incredibly durable. You can make an absolute brick shithouse of a Mechanicum list. Everything in the book is at least T5. A lot of stuff is T6, T7. A couple things are T8. We have a universal +1 toughness buff to throw around on things. So it's very easy to make a list that is just straight up immune to bolters. Heavy weapons aren't as effective. And then you combine this with Battlesmith, you're fixing up damaged robots all the time. Mechanicum can outlast a lot of stuff and just win games by having the scoring units survive to the end of the game. Almost everything in the book comes stock with an invulnerable save. Magi and Archmagi even have a feel no pain to layer those saves. It's the sum total of everything means that most of a Mechanicum list will still be on the table in turn 3 and potentially even in turn 4. It's a big deal. So, let's dive into a couple specific Mechanicum rules that apply to the entire faction. The first is Automata, the unit type from the core rulebook. They can't score. They can't contest objectives. They can't react. And they're nearly immune to poison weapons. All those Alchem Flamers from Death Guard are likely just going to bounce. Units that are only Automata, that have no meat bags in them, auto-pass status checks and cannot gain tactical statuses. If an HQ joins the unit is now vulnerable to statuses, and any status checks taken have to use the HQ's mental stats. You can't use the robot's cool 12. You're not as cool as the robots.
Well, I mean, the robots are unthinking machines
Yep.
and unfeeling machines, so it makes sense.
So this came out of the first FAQ, and it's probably for the best that Mechanicum plays the same game as everyone else with statuses. It was a little bit much trying to have everyone be status immune. Next up is Battlesmith out of the core rulebook as well. Battlesmith is a feature on just about every every Mechanicum HQ and on a couple Marine HQs. We can fix automata, walkers, and vehicles, or remove a status for them in the movement phase. The timing's really flexible. You can do it before or after you move, and it has a 6-inch range. Take an int check and remove either a tactical status or heal a damaged model for the value in brackets. Our Archmagos is Battlesmith 4, for example, so we'll heal 4 wounds, which basically heals almost any automata back up to full. There's some war gear items. The servo arm can increase the wounds healed by 1, or you can take a machinator array, which lets you double Battlesmith. You take 2 checks, you can heal 2 separate targets, and then if you choose your Arcana to be Lacrimarda, the Flesh Smiths, it allows Battlesmiths to heal infantry. Great at healing up a wounded Archmagos, or, if you nasty, an allied Ruinstorm Demon Sovereign.
don't think I like that.
I don't like it either.
Okay.
So let's dive into some cyberthurgy, which is the core faction mechanic of the Mechanicum. The unique mechanic we use to cast buffs, and there's also some special cases for cyberthurgy in being offensive and not purely buff. Cyberthurgy is usable by models with the Cyberthurgist rule, which is all of our HQs. Archmagos, Magos, Tech Priests, and the Arcuator's Magisterium. In general, you can only cast once per turn per HQ. Can be cast in any of the 3 phases: movement, shooting, or charge phase. There's a whole host of modifiers that go with it, positive and negative, but mostly it boils down to the difficulty of the check and if you have a piece of war gear. All of the buffs that you can cast are boiled down to the same 3 statuses, which are Quicken, Fortify, and Guide. Quicken grants the target unit +1 initiative and +1 movement. If you cast it on a vehicle, it gains +3 movement instead. Fortify grants the target unit +1 strength and +1 toughness. Or if you cast it on a vehicle, +1 armor value to a maximum of 14. And Guide grants the target unit +1 weapon skill and +1 ballistic skill. They last till the beginning of your next turn, and then they fall off. When they fall off, you take some damage. Don't worry, you'll survive it, probably. Those are some insane buffs. Like, I'm being able to just hand out bonuses to initiative, to weapon skill, to toughness is insane in a way that swings unit stats and can potentially swing an entire turn or a combat. You're going into Terminators that have Thunderhammers. They're down at Initiative 2. All right, my Domitars are also Initiative 2. Let's quicken them and put them to Initiative 3. And all of a sudden now you're swinging before those Terminators, and you can probably pulp half the unit. And it'll probably swing the combat. The effective use of cyberthurgy is it's the difference between victory and defeat for Mechanicum.
I'm literally sitting here, brain twitching. Keep going, please.
So that it's a lot. The casting of cyberthurgy is the main mechanic for Mechanicum.
Okay, how do you do that?
You're probably going to be doing it during the movement phase. It's the most flexible timing, and then you don't have to sacrifice your shooting or your volley fire in order to do it. You're going to pick an HQ, an Archmagos, a Magos, a Tech Priest, or an Arcuator. You're going to pick a power, which is something that you buy during list selection. There's a generic one that covers probably 90% of your use cases. It's overcharged reactors, and it allows you to buff robots. You're going to make an intelligence check. There's a mod -2 for the difficulty of the power, which is called out in the Liber. And then you probably have a war gear item on that gives you +2 intelligence. So you're probably just rolling on your base intelligence of 8 to 10, depending on what you are. And as long as you pass, you just get to hand out a token to somebody within the range. And now they are buffed. That's all there is to it.
Okay, and if you fail the test,
Nothing happens. There is
so it's not like psychic tests of perils or anything like that?
Correct. There is one power that has a negative effect if you fail it, which we'll get to later. because it's a situational power to begin with. And then
Okay.
you can go and stomp all over somebody with your weapon skill 5 Domitars. Loads of fun.
Weapon skill 5 Domitars doesn't sound like a pleasant thing for anybody to face. That sounds like a bad spot to be in, no matter how you cut it.
I would agree. It is, however,
Okay.
tons of fun to do to people. So,
All right.
all right. So, because that wasn't complex enough, I can tell from the silence of everyone on here. Because that wasn't complex enough, Mechanicum also has a slightly more complex way of building lists than Marines. So it's really not fair.
Okay.
You have to pick.
So,
Go ahead.
so how do you mean it's more complex than it is to build a regular army?
So Mechanicum armies, when you put a detachment in a Mechanicum army, all of the units that go in that detachment have to share the same arcana. So when you take a Tagmata cohort auxiliary detachment, which is 4 support slots, you cannot mix robots and Thalics or robots and tech thralls in that detachment, which is really irritating. If you want to take your Castellax robots and you want to take a unit of tech thralls, they have to be in separate detachments.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It was a choice. Somebody at GW made a choice, and they chose violence.
So would that have to be like an allied detachment?
Nope, these are just the auxiliary detachments, like,
Okay, so it's just one aux detachment heck would be like this. Another aux attachment would be that.
yes, you got it.
Okay. So it's
when
not like
you're-
you
when
actually
you're
have to
in
have
new-
an ally or something.
Yeah, when you're in New Recruit and you open up detachments, you can freely mix arcanas in your Crusade primary detachment. No worries there. But when you throw in an auxiliary shock assault detachment, for example, there's 2 options that could go in that aux detachment in the shock assault slot. In the heavy assault slot, you could get Castellax Destructors or you could get Ursarax. They have different techno arcanas. So even though there's 2 slots in that auxiliary detachment, you can't put 2 different arcanas of units in there. They won't play nice together. So this means that Mechanicum lists in general, you kind of have to tunnel 1 or 2 specific sub-factions, the arcanas. You can't splash in a little dash of everything as easily as Marines can.
Okay.
So when you're making a Mechanicum list, it's generally advised that you pick 1 or 2 themes of the faction to focus in on. If you want to build stompy robots, you should be like 75% of your list should be stompy robots. If you want to go all in on vehicles, you should probably have 50 to 75% of your list be in vehicles. Otherwise, it gets really, really, really difficult to manage all of the detachment slots that you need. Thankfully, the Magos has Officer of the Line 2, so you get two aux detachments per HQ, and that helps soften the blow a little bit. They act a lot like a Centurion in that regard, of opening up list building flexibility, but it's not like you're losing anything over taking a console.
All right. And these would be the guys who also cast the abilities.
Bet.
Okay.
So yeah, everything.
And so
in
they're
Mechanicum,
your secondary lines HQs.
Yes, and they are absolutely essential. If you don't have at least 2 in a list at 3,000 points, you are probably doing something real weird.
I like weird.
All right. Are
Look,
there
the other?
HQ robots?
There
There's
are
an
currently
assassin.
no HQ robots.
There's the assassin thing.
There is, but she is also a cyberthurgist. She can cast all the buffs and unlocks the regular 1 detachment.
Okay. So, and I'm just trying to figure this out here. I have my Megas, or Theurgist, whatever he is, my Centurion in essence. Does he have access to all the cyber theurgy powers, or do I have to buy them individually?
Yep. So during list construction, you'll have to buy individual cyberthurgy powers. And the list of what you can buy is limited by the subfaction that you choose on your Magos.
Okay, so that was where I was going to question it. So I have, my guy has, this guy has matching automata or whatever to the unit of Ursarax that I bought. He can cast his spell on the Ursarax.
Yes.
But he does not have basically the spell where Cybertherm do that to cast it onto a spell to cast it onto a different unit of Ursarax that don't match that house in essence.
So
would he still be able to cast his ability onto the other one?
All Ursarax are locked to be Lacrimarda.
Okay.
Their Arcana is locked.
So if he's Lacrimarda, could he cast that Lacrimarda thing on a unit of Domitars that are not Lacrimarda?
He cannot cast the specific Lacrimarda power. I believe I'm scrolling for it. Give me a second.
So he couldn't cast his spell
radio,
on a non-matching unit. He basically has to keep it in the family.
For the most part, yes. So Lacrimarda, the buff that they can cast on Ursarax is called Fleshknit Protocols. It specifies that it must target a Lacrimarda unit.
Okay. So he wouldn't just be able to throw it somewhere else.
Yes. That being said, all tech priests, all HQs, regardless of their subfaction, can access the basic buffer robot power. So even if you're not spec'd into robots, you can always buff a robot.
You just can't use your higher power or higher ability powers.
Yep. And you can't use the generic buffer robot power on stuff that ain't a robot.
Okay. I'm following so far. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around everything. If I ask questions that don't make sense, just let me know.
Well, this is why I'm here, and I'm hoping that it's not terrible radio for everyone listening.
Jack is our editor in charge. He will remove all the gaps like he does all the time.
Yeah, about that, buddy.
It's not that we're listening. It's just it's an anathema to us, and like we're kind of like we have the gear slowly grinding in the head, whereas we're grasping this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my usual list building of paint everything I own, and then go, hey, someone build me a list of this shit.
Yeah, Mechanicum list building is very intentional, which is it's really nice when you're in the moment and your brain is firing on all cylinders and you're like, oh, it's all coming together. And then when you're just sitting on the shitter at work trying to throw a list together in new recruit and it's not happening. Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
All right. So pray continue your stroll down the Mechanicum lane.
So, I think we're gonna go back to those Arcanas and subfactions, which they're the same thing, really. Arcana is just GW fancy lawyer speak for subfaction of Mechanicum. I will say this right now. Mechanicum is it's the most customizable army in the Horus Heresy. And the only reason I'm pausing is because militia exists. And you guys know just how customizable militia is.
We do.
So there is an absolutely enormous war gear list that every Archmagos and Magos and Tech Priest has access to. There's the equally long list of cybertheurgy spells that you can take, which are not just all buffs. There's some real interesting ones in there. Like, for example, the Reductor power, Unseal the Portal. Target a building, fortification, or transport. Must immediately make an emergency disembark. You thought you were safe in that Land Raider. You are not. Everyone get out.
Okay.
So there's a lot of very interesting things that you can do with the cybertheurgy powers. It looks like an old world, like a Warhammer Fantasy spell list, essentially, in terms of options that you have, and the wording on them is impressive too. Most of the time, it boils down to target a unit, cast it, give them a buff.
Right.
So the each of the Arcana has a set of benefits that it gives to HQs that take it, and then it has a unique Apex detachment. Mechanicum has 7 Apex detachments. They're all good.
Oof.
Yep. There is currently no way to take a second Apex detachment like the Delegatus. You are locked to one, and it has to share a faction keyword with your Archmagos, which is the high command slot that unlocks your Apex.
Okay.
In order to take the Cybernetica Apex, you have to take a Cybernetica tagged Archmagos.
Okay, so going back to my trying to make this understandable.
I can help a little bit. So if I want to build my Myrmidon army, my Archmago should probably select Myrmidax, which gives me
Yep.
the Myrmidax Apex detachment.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that I can't take another detachment, whether that's the normal ones from the rulebook or the 2 auxiliary detachments that are in this book, the Techmata cohort and the Apprentice cadre, that could be Cybernetica.
Absolutely.
That make sense, Duncan?
That wasn't quite my question.
You said so many words.
So, I'm taking Cybernetica as my Magos, or my Grand High Poobah, whatever, my boss man. For me to be able to unlock... Actually, I think John's question did answer it. So I wouldn't need to take an allied detachment to be able to unlock other houses, in
Right.
essence, or subfactions. Okay, yeah, no, John's thing answered my question.
You just need more Magoses to take
Yeah, no,
more
I'm fine with
detachments. It's just wonky. It's kind of wonky in that way.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the best explanation for it, yeah. Your Archmagos locks you to an Apex, but that you can also splash in different sub-faction, just regular Aux detachments through regular list building.
Okay. Sorry, my brain wasn't quite catching that.
It's all good. So, the list of Arcanas is long, and I'm going to try and be a little quick here. We're going to start in alphabetical order, as always, with Archimandrite. Archimandrite is the ruling caste of a Forge World. They are the top managers. They are the C-suite, and they bring flexibility. Is their deal. They gain some mental stats They don't suffer mental stat penalties for being in mixed faction units. And their comptroller always works, even in mixed faction units, which is a big deal. Their unique apex, the Heart of Power, is super duper flexible. It brings 3 retinue slots and 3 prime troop slots, which must be tech priests, which must be combat veterans for their prime slot, for their prime advantage for +1 mental stats. That makes them pretty good at casting cyberthurgy. So you get a lot of cheap cyberthurgy casters here. Retinue slots are really difficult to come by from Mechanicum, so the retinue units are very, very good. So this is a popular Apex detachment, and it's very flexible. Cybernetica is robots, robots, and more robots. You can run a list that is all HQs and robots very easily, and it's actually pretty good. A Cybernetica HQ joined to a robot unit allows them to contest, hold, and score objectives, even though automata normally can't. So this is important to let your robots actually score. Their apex is called Command Maniple, and you get an elite slot, a support slot, and a war machine slot, all of which are prime. They have a unique prime advantage called the Paragon of Metal. You get a robot sergeant. He gets +1 initiative, weapon skill, and some mental stats, which is kind of nifty. Lacrimarta are the flesh smiths. They focus mainly on tech thralls and Ursarax units. Like I alluded to before, they can use Battlesmith to heal infantry, which makes it really nice to fix up your Archmagos after they've taken a pounding. Lacrimarta HQs add recursion to tech thrall units, which is probably the single most GW lawyer speak thing in the book. It is an unbelievable amount of text to say, bring back up to 4 tech thralls a turn. There is no way to cheese this. The greatest minds in the Mechanicum have looked and tried to figure out how to cheese this and just absolutely explode a tech thrall unit. They've taken every single opportunity to make sure you can't.
You can only cast it once a turn?
Yes. It's exceedingly carefully worded. There are no loopholes.
That we can find yet, right?
We've been looking basically since the rulebook came out. Everyone wants the tech thralls to work, and they're just a little bit sad this edition.
If normal Heresy players are autists, Mechanicum players are turbo autists, and they would have found a hole.
Okay.
My helmet is on tight. My glue is uncorked. I'm ready to rism with the tism.
Oh my god. Okay.
So Lacrimarta brings the Panoply of Cruelty as their apex detachment. It's 3 prime heavy assault slots that can only be used for Ursarax. They get a prime advantage that's unique called Prime Specimens, +1 wound and +2 strength to a unit. These Ursarax are juiced to the gills. 27 3-wound Ursarax with strength 8 power fists is a hell of a punch. It's a very fun apex detachment to run. Myrmidex is the Myrmidon-centric arcana, focused on the walking piles of weapons that are Myrmidons. Any HQ that selects Myrmidex gains +1 wound, +3 to its bulky stat, and implacable advance, and the champion subtype if it didn't have it. That makes a very, very thick Archmagos. He's got 8 wounds at that point, which is just, it's ridiculous. It also has the most fun gambit in the game, which is the Myrmidon's Path. It lets you pull an Indiana Jones. You know the scene where the guy's flipping the sword, and then Indiana Jones just pulls out his pistol and shoots the guy and turns away.
Yeah.
You get to do that with a melta
Okay.
gun. So,
All right.
there is nothing more satisfying than pulling up to a challenge and the other guy is sitting there going, all right, I've got, this modifier is with my Paragon blade, and you just pull out a melta gun and blow him away.
Melta gun means nothing if you've already taken all your wounds from, or Paragon blade means nothing when I've already shot you. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, they have a really exciting gambit, but their Apex detachment is super boring. It's 4 elite slots that can only be used for Myrmidons. If you're looking to flood the table in Myrmidons, this is the way to do it. But it's not anything terribly exciting. Then we get to Malagra, which is the Spanish Inquisition of the Mechanicum. They're focused on rooting out tech heresy wherever it appears. Or if they're traitors, they're telling you that you're not using enough tech heresy.
Yeah.
So the Arcuator's Magisterium used to be a loyalist locked unit in 2nd edition, but thankfully they've opened this up to everyone for the joys of the Arcuator in 3rd edition. This is where we start getting into... Mechanicum has the absolute best names. Like, whoever worked on this book at GW cooked with rules names. Even the Deathless may know fear. Is a special rule that Malagra HQs have. They pulse out a 12-inch aura of -1 weapon skill and ballistic skill to enemy Mechanicum models, which is just absolutely crippling in the mirror match. If you ever see a Mechanicum mirror match where both players are playing Mechanicum towards each other, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Much like the John versus Ned in their Solorox and Militia combat.
Oh, yeah.
Literally taking off units in handfuls.
It's bad. I played a Mechanicum mirror match 2 weeks ago, I think, and it was a miserable experience for both of us. The only Malagra unit in the game is the Arcuator Magisterium. They are a top-tier duelist. They have a special gambit called the Power of the Machine Spirit, which adds their Battlesmith value to one of their offensive stats, which is weapon skill, strength, initiative, or attacks. Which means you can put an Arcuator to a casual weapon skill fucking 10. Or 8 Thunderhammer attacks. A properly kitted out Arcuator will absolutely clown on most other duelists in this game. It is an absolutely ridiculous ability. I don't think they can kill a Primarch with it, but the fact that I have to talk about it means something, I feel like. The Malagra Apex Crux of Judgment, which absolutely sounds like a heavy metal album title, features 3 command slots. Must be used to field Arcuator's Magisterium. Those 3 Arcuators must be joined together as a unit and cannot be separated. They also don't provide extra detachments. The Arcuator mob is a meme list. It's really funny to field like 5 Arcuators together in a unit and just roll somebody with your casual weapon skill 7 unit, but it doesn't do anything for list flexibility, tactical flexibility, or moral flexibility. They're Inquisitors after all.
All right.
We're almost done, guys. 2 more. Macrotech is all about vehicles. HQs can hand out a 6-up invuln save to vehicles that are close to them, which is kind of nifty. But also, everyone here knows that the 6-up invuln is dicey. I am a recovering Sisters of Battle player from 3rd edition Warhammer 40k, and I've rolled enough 6-up invulns to know that they never happen when you want them to.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. The Kyros tanks? Don't they already have an invul?
No, I don't believe any of the Mechanicum tanks have an invuln straight up.
They had like a shield generator that made like an invul set.
They used to have flare shields in 1.0,
Okay.
but I'm looking at the book right now, and they do not have an invuln base.
Okay. I was just gonna ask if it's stacked, but never mind. My bad.
It also says that it doesn't stack with any other invulns of vehicle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it is kind of nifty. The Macrotech Apex detachment is Iron Phalanx, with 3 heavy transport slots and 3 armor slots, all of which are prime. Their prime advantage is Prime Conveyor, which adds +1 armor value, +2 hull points, and +2 transport capacity if the vehicle was already a transport. That puts Krios tanks to armor 14 in the front and 7 hull points, which is pretty thick. It does not do anything for a Karaknos or Triaros in the front. They're already 14. But it does buff their side armor and hull points, and it's a lot of tanks. A lot of heavily armored tanks. They've got flare shields. And as I'll get to later, Krios tanks are really, really good this edition. Finally, we've got Reductor as our last tech arcana. This is the Thalax Arcana. It has a very niche special rule. An HQ that's Reductor that's joined to another model gives them +1 strength with all of their attacks against stationary vehicles and fortifications, which sounds really, really cool. Until you realize that it's only against stationary vehicles.
No, that doesn't help much.
No. Land Raiders don't stay stationary, and those are the main things that we all want to crack, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Like there's a handful of vehicles that want to stay stationary for heavy or ordnance purposes, but most of the time, like a Land Raider is going to be moving, a Spartan's going to be moving, a Kratos is going to be moving, Sicarans are probably moving. Like, there's not a lot that's going to stay still, so it's a little bit of a nothing burger, unfortunately. I want it to be good, but I have yet to see it pay off. For myself, at least. Reductor Apex is the Thalax Command Cohort, which gives 3 prime support slots that must be filled with Thalax, and those units have to take a Thalax Praetorian. They get a unique prime advantage as Thalaxi Principe, which gains an gains a buff to their invuln save. But that's not a lot. I think this Apex detachment has some serious legs in small point games. If you're running like 1,500 points and you're dumping a mob of Thalax with upgraded invuln saves on the table, I think there's some play there. But in a big game of Heresy, this is not my jam.
Okay, well, what would be your jam in a series? For a bigger game of Heresy.
Everyone loves the robots. The robots are really good this edition. The robots also have the most choices out of the book to build a list from. Okay. If you go scrolling through the book, or flipping through the book, I guess, and you're looking at just how many units are there of any sub-faction in Mechanicum, Reductor has 1 unit. Lacrimarda has 2 units. Malagra has 1 unit. Myrmidax has 2 units. And then Cybernetica with the robots is sitting over here with like 8 to 10. So robots stay winning this edition. There's a lot of different ways to put robots into a list. you can fill out basically any detachment with robots, and plus it's big stumpy robots on the table. Who doesn't love that? So the robots make a really compelling list because they're easy to put into a list, and they're also easy to access with the plastic offerings that GW has right now. They're front and center in the battle box. They're front and center in the heavy support box, in the combat patrol. They've gotten a lot of plastic in the last year, and it's done wonders for the faction. Personally, I'm an Archimandrite man. I think that the flexibility of that Apex is second to none in just getting stuff to work together on the table. A lot of times you're looking at it and it's like, okay, I need to cast this buff onto this unit, and I need this model to be in this unit so that I can activate Comptroller and score those bonus points. And it's a frickin' Rube Goldberg puzzle. And I don't want to be doing that all the time at the table, and just knowing that my stuff will work without me needing to invest mental energy in it is great.
Okay.
All right, I have said a lot of words at you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So let's go back and start from the top. You guys are now looking to get into Mechanicum.
Okay.
You've bought a battle box. You've bought the three big box offerings from GW: the Battle Force box, the Combat Patrol, the Combat Force, and the Heavy Support box. You got your first units, and you're looking. Okay, how do I get into this faction? What questions do you have?
Okay. First, what sets Mechanicum truly apart from the other factions, other than just big stumpy robots? Because if the answer is purely big stumpy robots, I'm fine with that too.
I'm going to take a second to answer this question. This is an army that is more than the sum of its parts. Every individual thing that you look at is a little bit underwhelming. But when you put it all together and you've done your homework, and this thing is, the engine is running on the table and all your cylinders are firing, it is a thing of beauty. For you, maybe not for your opponent.
Okay.
I think everyone is used to the paradigm of Marines, where you take a unit and it does exactly what it says on the box, right? You take some tactical Marines, they're dudes, they got power armor, they got bolters, they score objectives. That's exactly what you get out of the unit.
Yep.
With Mechanicum, what you get out of the unit depends on the upgrades that you gave it and the synergy that it has with other stuff around it. And that, for me, it speaks to my soul. So
it's not an individual sum of its parts. It's more a sum of its whole instead.
Yes.
So it takes more of a combined arms approach to be able to make a functioning army, as opposed to having an army of different functional bits.
Yes, that's it. You nailed it.
Okay. If you were just starting off with Mechanicum, and you have those three boxes that you already mentioned, what would you do?
Robots. I think that the easiest way to get into Mechanicum is building out the robots that you get in the starter boxes. You get like 4 Castellax, 2 units of Thalax, 1 of each of the Thanatars, and a couple of vehicles. That is the majority of an army. It is easy to work with. It allows you to kind of splash in some other stuff to your flavor, and it looks really good on the tabletop. All of those models in those boxes are beautiful.
Okay. So you're building a 3K list. You would take those, and would there be anything that you would need to add to make a functional 3K beyond that?
You need HQs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think any of those boxes come with an HQ model. That being said, there is a Heresy Archmagos plastic kit that looks really nice. And then there's a whole bunch of the 40K plastic offerings, which I think are some of the better models that GW has made for AdMech. I think a lot of people tend to dunk on some of the AdMech models because they've got the goofy Da Vinci helicopter flyers, and they've got the buff
The stilt
electro
leg guys.
priests, and the robot dog cavalry, or the mechanical horse cavalry. Like, they've got some weird ones in there, but the HQs look really good, and they're plastic, and they're easy to get and easy to convert if you're into that. It is very quick to get a handful of really good looking HQs into this army. If you're of a printerly sort, there is an incredible library of Mechanicum stuff out there that people have made. It's pretty easy to get your hands on a good variety of HQs and have them look cohesive and in theme with everything else that GW offers in the base plastic sets. There is unfortunately an annoying amount of resin still in this army. I like working with resin personally. I've got a lot of resin stuff on my desk, but it's a little bit hard to get a hold of. They're stopping production of a lot of the Forge World stuff. If you want Vorax or Domitars, you're going to either be paying through the nose for it, or you're going to be waiting for them to come out in plastic.
I mean, they've done a fairly good job of converting a decent amount of the stuff that they have over to plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, in comparison to how drawn out the Marine releases have been, the AdMech have been pretty quick.
I'm very impressed with the speed and the fidelity that they have gotten stuff into plastic.
Yep.
For Mechanicum. It's really knocked down the barrier to entry to this faction. Mechanicum and Solar Ox were two of those factions that you looked at in first edition Heresy, and you saw the absolute pile of resin that was on the table, and you're like, wow, that's a second mortgage right there. But I think the barrier to entry to Mechanicum has never been lower than it is right now. There's a lot of opportunity to get in and build one of the more unique looking armies in the Heresy.
Is there anything you haven't mentioned?
I have a question.
Okay, we'll come back to Duncan's question. Jamie, go ahead.
It kind of rolls in a little bit with Duncan's question, but so where do the new Skitarii units fall in with all of this?
I knew we were gonna talk about this.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
No, it's a good question. I was thinking about it earlier, and it slipped my mind.
It is a good question. I can tell you that GW seems to think that Skitarii are a lot more popular than I've seen them let on. There's a specific rule in the Skitarii book where I have the paper copy right here. Where if you take a Skitarii primary and you take a Mechanicum allied detachment, you don't have to worry about the 50% limit for allied army or an allied army. So you can run Skitarii and Mechanicum together really well without having to worry about it in list building.
With
And
that,
you use Skitarii for the bulk of your scoring.
right?
Yeah, Skitarii do have line. The only line that is available to Mechanicum that's not like an allied tactical marine.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Is there a flavor of AdMech that lends itself to working well with the Skitarii?
I haven't necessarily found it yet.
Okay.
If there is. There's basically no interplay between the two. None of the Mechanicum spells to buff stuff work on the Skitarii.
On the
They don't have
Skitarii.
the right
Okay.
cards. None of the Skitarii really do anything for the Mechanicum models either, aside from, hey, it's a cheap unit with line, which is there's something to that because Mechanicum does have an issue with scoring.
Okay.
It is an issue that you can overcome, but it requires you to be really, really careful about where you put your HQs.
Okay. Yeah.
So
they seem
having that the cheap line unit is nice.
Okay. I mean, I can see
I will say the other thing that I think Skitarii does really well is it offloads some of your detachment pain from list building. Because Skitarii can take Voltarax and they can take the tanks.
Yep.
In their allied detachment. And
that would, well, I mean, like, if you're, where is the Voltrax? Where is the Voltrax available for the AdMech normally?
it's a first strike.
Those are fast.
Yeah, it's the fast attack slot. Which is it's not efficient to put in lists.
Okay.
So for reference, I personally own 2 Voltarax, and I take them in a lot of lists.
Yeah.
I really like how they look and how they play on the tabletop, and it is kind of a pain because those 2 Voltarax take up an entire detachment slot all by an entire detachment all by themselves.
Right.
And it's only 200 points of my army, which, I mean, there's worse problems to have. My steak is too juicy and my lobster is too buttery. It's only 200 points of my army for these 2 amazing models, but it does make including them in a list a little bit more difficult because now I have to be careful of how many other detachments I'm taking and am I running up against my hard limit of 6.
Okay.
How many detachments do you guys put in a regular ass Marine list?
No.
Like, how many Ox detachments do you use?
Oh, that's fun because I have one in front of me right now. See here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 auxiliary detachment and a Lord of Ward. But my list may be a little kilter right now.
That's not normal.
That sounds amazing, and I want to see that list.
No, you don't.
No, you really don't want to see this list. We can promise you that
it's all
Jack
John's
made
fault.
nonsense.
John made me do it.
I'd say on most of my lists, I'm about 3 to 5, somewhere in that range. Most of them are probably 3, 4.
Yeah, most of mine are 3, 4. My Solar Ox is 8.
Yeah, I like Solar Ox. Mine was pretty big, and then I mean I could go crazy, but like I'm usually most of my Marine list I'm building towards like a theme, and yeah. So they're about usually 3, 4. I want to say.
So mine normally sits right around the 4 to 5 mark with an Apex attachment thrown in there as well. So realistically 6.
Well, yeah, I'm not including the Apex. I'm just saying the auxiliaries was like 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna quick scroll down my new recruit for you guys. 5 Ox detachments, 1 Apex. 4 Ox detachments, 1 Apex. 4 Ox detachments, 1 Apex. 5 Ox detachments, 1 Apex. Scroll past some Marine lists. 3 Ox and 1 Apex. 3 Ox and 1 Apex. 5 Ox and 1 Apex. 4 Ox and 1 Apex. 5 Ox, 1 Apex. 6 Ox, 1 Apex. 5 Ox, 1 Apex.
So on average, more Ox. than most books
Yes.
will be including.
I am pushing up against the limits of what I can reasonably take in a list.
Oh, all you gotta do is try harder.
The answer is allied detachments, because the latest FAQ did some wacky bullshit for Mechanicum allies. And
Such
I am
as
not
allowing
going
you
to
to
get
take
into
other
that.
Mechanicum.
Yes, I'm not going to get into that on this podcast, because that is advanced stupidity.
Well, that's a perfect spot. We've already run up against kind of a time limit for tonight. Do you have more that you could then talk about in a part 2?
Oh my god, yes. I haven't even touched on the units. But
Then how about we call it a night here, and we have you back next week for part 2,
Or whenever
of the unit.
whenever you're available.
Whenever you-
Yeah.
If you're available next week.
yeah, I think I can do that.
Don't feel beholden. You can tell us to piss off for a week.
Or 2.
I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll see what my next weekend looks like, but I think I can do that for you guys.
Thank you, sir.
I hope I didn't ramble too badly.
No.
No.
I
Going on Deep Death is good.
yeah, I'm confused, but also I don't have the book in front of me. So
Yeah.
I'm just going off of your words, and you said a lot of big words.
Okay, so GW's writing for this book is, everyone's read the 3.0 main rule book. This is the cyberthurgy section of this book is straight legalese. I don't think I understood it for like 4 or 5 days after reading it for the first time, and I'm still learning new shit about this book.
I'm pretty sure.
Sounds about right.
I'm pretty sure somebody at
Just
GW get paid by the word for these new books.
I'm gonna stop shy of calling it abominable intelligence, but there are times when I look at this book and I'm like, did fucking GPT write this?
You are not the first person to have said that about almost all the current books. I think every single person here has said that too.
I mean, I know just from other forums and stuff I'm in, and when people like, hey, I want to play AdMech, and then they start reading the rules, they're just like, oh, good God, like, what is going on? Yeah.
It does end up being much more simple than it lets on, but you have to understand it in its complexity before you can boil it down to, I'm gonna roll some dice, and if I see an 11 or 12 pop up, then the power didn't go off. Like there's been a couple months of me sitting here going, okay, how can I make my buff casting the most reliable? And then putting that into the list, and paying the 20 points for a cyber familiar, and paying the 30 points to put a random ass tech priest sitting back there chanting to support, and like that gives me the ability to, all of that pre-work that has gone into my head now gives me the ability to be more confident on the table of, okay, it's a 5 on the dice, the power goes off, or it's an 11 on the dice, the power doesn't go off.
Okay.
So familiarity starts to breed a little bit of the more understanding for it.
Gotcha. Well, we'll come back for part 2 then, and we'll call it a wrap here. Anyone got anything else they need to mention before we call it a night?
First of the new year, new army is ending in 4 days. 3 days by the time that you hear this podcast. So get your stuff done. Yeah, and then there'll be a new channel in the Discord for you to show all your new stuff, and then a new channel will be created for the second 3-month challenge. Duncan, have I misspoke on anything?
Nope.
Okay, outstanding.
We'll keep the old channel as an archive channel.
Yeah, and we're still working on a March event for local, but we've got the May event dialed in for May 16th at New World Gaming, I think it is. The post is on the Facebook page, but I'll get it into our stuff too.
Don't forget, if you're going to Adepticon, come by and see us. If you're playing a Heresy event, you get a free poster of your choice from all the posters we'll have, and we will have a lot. If you are a member of our patron, a paying member of the patron, you will get a second poster for free. Doesn't matter if you're at the $1 level or not, you get another poster for free.
Yeah.
We'll also have our merch, a discount code live during Adepticon for merch for anyone who is interested in purchasing shirts, hoodies, water bottles, etc. with our poster art on it.
Water bottles.
Water bottles, because why not? And that's all I've got. Anybody else got anything else?
As it sits right now, it is 24 days to Adepticon. So by the time you hear this, it'll be 23 days to Adepticon. Get your stuff done.
Yep.
I did that.
I'm still working on it. The printer just finished while we were for the next batch finished while we were on the recording.
Printer go burn.
Now that my Myrmidons are almost done, I need to get the rest of the Cobra finished.
So, all right,
Josh, thank you for coming and joining us tonight. We really do appreciate
thank you.
this.
Not
Thank you for having me, gents.
not Jeremy, not Jacob, not whatever you called him the first time, but Josh.
Yeah. Hank, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you being here.
Dave, the infamous Dave.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you here again
Whenever-
next week or the week after, or whenever you're available.
Whenever you can make it, sir.
Absolutely, and I look forward to seeing you guys in person at Adepticon.
Yep, same.
Absolutely.
John, do you want to do that thing?
Yeah, everybody, thanks for joining us on the 161st episode of the Heresy Accountability Buddies Podcast. My name is John. I've been joined by
Brian,
Duncan,
Jack,
Jamie,
and a special
guest,
Josh.
And remember to stay accountable to yourselves, to your buddies, and your hobby. And we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye now.
Like and subscribe, and see ya.